and to appreciate so far our budget committee and chair for the work they have done. I know it's been a very, very tough year where we've had to repeat and to ensure that we just get into the timelines and the lines and the inspirations of what Kenyans want. And to appreciate that, yes, every sector will have to bear the burden, but more importantly, maybe it's going to teach us also a lesson on how to look at our budgets without really putting so much. And let's see how we perform with this. And it will give us now a way forward on what the president has always said, that he would wish that there will be a time when we have a budget that is itemized. And this will help us. But I know it is up to us in whatever little we have, and that is what we should be asking, Mr. Speaker. That is there a way we can have prudence in how we are going to dispense the resources that we are given based on what we have. The other thing we should be asking ourselves as Kenyans is that how good is it that we can go back and reflect and ensure that slowly by slowly we come out of IMF and all these things that have brought us to where we are today. But I also want to ask Kenyans that as much as we are doing that, we also need to understand that you will not expect a lot. And so you cannot come again and start blaming. But the little we have, and that is why it is important, if it is one project, let Kenyans see that one project. Let it come out, Mr. Speaker, as yes, we had this little, but we have one project, and the project is seen, the project is with quality, and can be quantified that it has spent public resources in prudence. The other thing, Mr. Speaker, as you look at the reports, we go now to the county governments. And I think even as we readjust everything, it is time we must also ask the county governments to now come openly, transparently, on how much do they collect from their local revenue. Is it able to now become a fund or resources that can be assisted to support where we've had the deficit? Because that is one thing. It's like in Kenya, it doesn't matter. Yes, we have local revenue. Nobody cares about it. Nobody even says how much is it. And then in the end, you don't even, but we are here saying we have reduced 20 billion. You want to tell me in the local revenues of each county, Mr. Speaker, even if they collect 1 billion, these are 47 counties, you'll find across 47 billion shillings. It will even surpass. And so those who are able to collect even more, Nairobi can collect even more, Mr. Speaker. You will find even Nairobi, if well organized, we can have beyond of 40 billion shillings. Mr. Speaker, we can even become the first county that can even share their revenue in terms of giving loans to other counties. So it is the systems of how we collect revenue. And this thing of saying we have deficits at the national level, Mr. Speaker, it has to now start balancing with that we must also know how are the counties performing. Is there a way the Senate can bring in incentives that if you perform better and if you collect better, then there is a parameter that you can be added more revenue because you are collecting and spending well in terms of the development that you are giving your people. Mr. Speaker, the other thing we should be asking ourselves, and this should be within education. You realize, Mr. Speaker, we are about to now, in the year 2025, we shall be phasing out the 844 system. And so we are moving slowly by slowly. But we should also be now trailing ourselves that we must think that CBC must get it right from the word go in terms of having education, free education as they move. And it can happen, it can work, and we must come out of this cry so that we start now reorganizing our resources ourselves. Mr. Speaker, the other thing we should be telling now our citizens, you remember the courts also now quashed the 2022-2023 finance bill. So we've gone back to the axe. It's not that we are hanging. No, But there were good things that were meant for manufacturers. Now it is gone again. And so we have to sit down also with the judiciary. While Gen Zs are telling us to sit down, Mr. Speaker, isn't it fair to sit down also with the judiciary? Have a meeting together, not just a meeting, Mr. Speaker. We go for a workshop together now to start looking at all these things that are coming all over. Because we cannot be having the Gen Zs saying we need to see good governance in each arm of government. It means also the judiciary must be now part of that good governance. And you must look at the public also and the interest of the public. You have left the country. We are just sorting out 2023, 2024, 2025. You have taken us now out completely. And so we are saying all the gains we had put even in the other bill, as much as it had a lot of cry, there were issues of excise duty, there were issues of manufacturing, and now we are back to ground zero. And these are some of the things we must sit down. We don't need to complain. We don't need to talk about it on media, but we need to sit as two arms of government and get a better way. Yes, nobody can control the judges in terms of their judgments, but when the country is at a very vulnerable state like this, if we have any arm that is trying to bring us into a situation where you find our country going to the brinks, it will be very unfortunate, very unfortunate. So in the time when things are at the state we are in, we need every person, every arm of government to feel that indeed we are working towards making Kenya better, but also towards appreciating the challenges that we have and making things to work. But not the way we have done, because even the formula we had for university students, the moment you quash all these things, you should be asking yourselves, where have we taken back help? Where have we done this? It is going to affect. So we are pleading with the judiciary. Look at everything as we move. As we move, just know in the education system, there are new systems coming in place. Let us not find ourselves again in the crisis we have been. So, Mr. Speaker, even as I support, I know that the Senate will have to look at this, at what they had passed in Dora, and realize that we have to realign, and the counties must realign, and the governors must realign, so that we move in. I'm hoping nobody again will run to court, because it is a system. I don't know why we are doing all this, but I'm hoping not anyone in the Senate will rush to court or anyone in the counties, but we shall work within the means we have accepted, and we see our country moving in this financial year of 2024-2025, and ensure we put in governance of systems. And I'm hoping the new CS will be able also to look at all these things and bring us also a report just to tell us how our systems, where are we, and look at all the sectors that gives us revenue, KPA and the rest, and ask ourselves to do that. With those few remarks, I beg to support, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. There's a heavy weight on this side, so I'll take two and then come this side. So the Honorable Wilberforce Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.